Here we go again. Welcome to the Village Boy Podcast. I'm your host, Trez. The joint session speech by the President Donald J. Trump. Man, that deep evoked a lot of emotions, a lot of reactions. We saw a lot of bite and blow. But let's get into it. I found this comment on social media. And this is what it reads. When a homeborn Negro from Africa thinks they have made it in America, they all of a sudden become Republicans and start parading right wing talking points. Negro, no matter how much you try, you're always going to be blip to them. Take a minute, and process this information. This is one former immigrant, because in my previous video, I did say once you become an American citizen, you're no longer an immigrant. That you can be an immigrant and an American at the same time. Immigrants are not allowed to participate in American elections. Only Americans participate in American elections. But you can be an immigrant and live in America. You don't have to be a citizen. But once you become a citizen, you're no longer an immigrant. So there's one citizen who may have come from any of the beautiful countries in Africa, settled in America. And this is how he or she, whoever's behind this profile, sees other immigrants turn U.S. citizens who have decided to jump ship, who no longer identify as Democrats. Because with the African diaspora, as soon as you get off the plane, you are immediately inducted into the Democrat Party. You are groomed and educated that the Republican Party is bad, is anti-Black, anti everything that you believe. And so you become by default a Democrat because you really haven't understood the American political landscape at your first entrance into America. And the person that is ushering you and welcoming you into American politics is usually a Democrat. And usually they live majoritarily in Democrat cities. Of course, you get to follow the guidelines of the person that welcomes you. You turn to follow in their footsteps, be it education, politics, and the sports team they support. You're a newbie, you don't know much, and this is usually the process. And eventually, when you mature in the society and you become your own person, your own man, you start to think for yourself. You could stay with the Democrat Party, or you could ask questions and say, okay, I don't want to be a Democrat because the Democrat Party does not check the boxes, or at least they promise these things and never get to deliver them. And you can become an independent. Now, you become an independent, that is a safe place to be because you're neither here nor there. And you don't have this attacks and attacks and attacks. And if you are crazy enough where you move further right and identify, say, a Republican, that is where the attacks come. And needless to say, these are known attacks. Black Americans who switch over to the Republican Party have been attacked with names like Coons, Uncle Tom's, House Negro, for lack of a better word, Sellouts. So this is history that has been known on the Black American side of things. Now, on the Black African American side of things, it's just new territory because the Black African American is just now maturing into being able to decide for themselves. They've gone through the cycle of the Democrat and then maturing to be like, okay, I want this for myself. I want this for my family. And this is who I'm going to align with because they best align with some of the values that I hold dear. And so we are beginning to see those labels now come with the, and this is what happens. This is confirmation that this is becoming your home when they start to label you this, right? It says when a home born, when you were born in Africa, you were not born in America. So when a homeborn Negro from Africa thinks they have made it, so they think they've made it. So they've gone through the process, gone through education, or gone through the usual process, and they have made it, which means they have matured in the system, right? And now they're able to think for themselves. Because when they didn't make it, they were Democrats. That's the logic of this conversation. So when they did not make it, of course, they were following. They didn't know better. They were Democrats. And now that they understand that the Democrat Party is not going to do nothing for you, the vast majority of people have to find yourself as you mature into your own man. You have to be able to take a stand. What do I get? It's a game of interest. It's not a game of emotions. It's a game of interest. When I cast a vote, I need something in exchange. Either I need good schools, I need a good business environment, I need lower taxes. There is something that I am going to benefit directly from my vote. I'm not casting a vote so other people should benefit. It's an emotional vote. I cannot cast a vote that it should affect other people and I'm not affected. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't jive with politics. Politics is a game of interest. I must see benefit to me and my immediate family. So if you're passing a bill that affects my child, my wife, my mom, my sibling, that's something that benefits me. But if you're passing something that benefits a community that I don't belong to, I don't know anybody that belongs to, why will I vote for that? And then if it doesn't affect me in any ways, I'm probably not going to mind. But if it goes against something that I believe, I'm not going to vote for it. That's how elections work. Why people get all worked up, why people get all emotional is beyond my comprehension because you vote to get something in return. And I've always asked my fellow Black Americans who voted in the last election, 93% for the women and 78% for the men. What did you get the 4 years prior to this vote? What specifically, you voted for Joe Biden. What specifically can you list? We got this. We got this. Can you enumerate what you got in return for your vote? And so when you say this kind of language, and when you've matured and gotten to the place where you're able to make decisions for yourself, things like this should not trigger you because it's only the weak that label people because they cannot have a conversation of intellectuals. They cannot get into an arena of debate. And so the easy way is to label. And I have another video that I asked, do labels work? This was a preemptive video for this actually. Do labels really still work? When you call somebody a coon, a house Negro, you are never going to be accepted. Accepted by who? Who is looking at validation that somebody should accept? You essentially are saying there's somebody that's superior. You are pleading, you are acknowledging that there's somebody superior that is not going to accept you. This is the constant, this is the left always seeking validation. And because the white liberal has accepted them, and Malcolm X said this, there are two kinds of black people in America. There's the black person that is comfortable sharing the table, even though they don't have anything in return. And there's the other black that doesn't care, that I just want to do me. I want to do my own things. The Constitution has awarded me that ability to do my own thing. I don't need approval from anybody. I just need to believe that this is what I want to do and set mission and achieve in what I want to do. This is the new narrative. You have to be strong. Doing the right thing is never the easiest thing. You know you're doing the right thing because you're being attacked for it. You're being memed and insulted for it. When you're doing the common thing that everybody does, everybody cheers. When you want to be different and want to be unique and want to set your own mission, the cavalry is always going to attack you, brand you, label you, and call you all kinds of names. This caption came from the joint session. You had the typical who's president's in power. If it's Republican, the Democrats are generally not going to clap. If it's a Democrat, the Republicans are generally not going to clap. You have the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the past who boycotted or who, stood up and who was constantly interrupting Biden. And this year we found a gentleman called Green. The sergeant of arms had to actually kick him out of the session. And the Democrats could have saved us the time by just not showing up, right? I don't know who writes the scripts for this Democrats. There's this video I'm going to play right now where Trump said, and this was the lead up, and it's like Democrats don't know how to read the room. And this is the problem with the Democrats. They have not figured out how to read the room. They're so consumed by their hatred of Donald Trump that they are unable to master his antics. They are unable to preempt his antics. And I have no problem as long as they continue to lose. But the problem is we need an opposition party that's able to wage a balance, that's able to push because Republicans are going to run wild. If you let them, they're going to run wild. So you need an opposition that is level-headed, is able to be balanced, but we don't have it right now. We have a bunch of emotional adults who are triggered by everything president says. You cannot have an opposition that does not have logic, that does not have the ability to calm down. This is what Donald Trump said in a video. This video we're about to watch is a video of Trump actually detailing what he's going to do. Listen carefully to what Trump says.
Look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not
Look at their
clap, will
faces.
not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
This is what he said leading up to him presenting the young man, the survivor, the 13-year-old who was battling cancer and who was given 6 months to live and who outlived that. And the Lincoln Riley deal, the white girl who was savagely murdered by a Venezuelan gang, and a host of other people. This is what he said leading up to that. So pretty much he has already preconditioned their mind that they're not going to clap or stand. No matter what I do, I could find a cure. I could reduce crime. Border crossings have been reduced at the lowest it has ever been. And Democrats confine it in themselves to be like, our country is safe. We don't have this mass migration coming through. They couldn't clap. But that's not the issue here. When this thing was presented in the Black community, the Black American community historically just votes blindly Democrat, even though they cannot give you, they cannot list what they get back in return. Because when you look at the Black community, it's a joke, right? There's nothing there to justify their loyalty to the Democrat Party. But a conversation for another day. And when this conversation was presented in most Black communities, the argument here was that This little boy was used as a pawn, right? How about Lincoln Riley? Is she being used as a pawn too? How about the firefighter who died protecting his family? Was he being used as a pawn? How about the little man who just got admitted to West Point? A pawn? But let's stay on the little DJ, right? A kid who's aspired to be a police officer and stuff. And let's go with the narrative that yes, the black community believes that he was used as a pawn. But the lead up, Trump just said this, right? Which means you are hearing this and you hear a beautiful story of a child, right? You hear a beautiful story of a child and the honorary bestowing of the Secret Service agent on this child, just for the child alone and just for the optics that we are not going to fit into this narrative that no matter what, we're not going to clap for you, just so that middle America can see us because he has already conditioned the minds of middle Americans. And no matter what I do, these people are not going to clap for me. That's what middle and the rest of America has heard. You guys sitting in there, you're not going to clap. But what is middle America? What are they thinking? This is what he has already conditioned the rest of the audience watching the show. No matter what I do, these people are not going to clap. And what does he do? What does Trump do next? This is what Trump does next, right? This is what Trump does next. He,
The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
that been there. He had already conditioned the American people that no matter what I do, these people are not going to clap for prayer. Hit the American people with
Since
this.
that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Let me stop there for a second. Just this, just this. We're going to make you an honorary member of the Secret Service agent. Just this right here. And for the optics of it, it's politics, which is like I said, a game of interest. A game of interest. It's not a game of who's right and who's wrong. It's not a game of morality. You are being used. Politics is a game of interest, right? A game of optics. What people see, what people hear. This is how politics works. So you have seen this. You've heard the kid's story, and now you're hearing that they're about to make him a member of the Secret Service. You know what you should have done? After he had already laid out on the stage that no matter what I say, these people are not going to clap. What you should have done is stood up for 2 seconds and then clap. That narrative that led up to him would have just gone in thin air. You would have won that conversation. You would have controlled that conversation that about this little, and this is the party of race baiting. This is the party that if Joe Biden literally said, you are not black if you don't vote for me. This is a party whose core message is centered around race. And there's a black boy, and there's this scene of a black kid that they should be able to stand up and cheer because a black kid, even if you believe it's a pawn, but you got to play the game. You have to be a chess master. You have to understand how the chess is being moved around. How can somebody say, no matter what I do, you will not clap? And he gives you this, and you still don't clap. And now you are doing a Monday morning quarterbacking, trying to defend your position. Oh, he has cut funding for cancer. Oh, he has done this. You are in a defensive position. You could have still had this conversation. You could have said, you could have clapped for DJ, even if you thought it was a pun. Plus, it's a political scenario. You could have clapped for DJ. And the next day, you could have said, it's disheartening that Trump is talking about a child who survived cancer while he has cut funding for cancer. That's a mature conversation. That's an arena where people are willing to listen to you, but nobody's willing to listen to you right now. Nobody is giving you the opportunity to explain yourself. And you are in a defensive position trying to justify why you did not stand, why you did not clap for this kid, when all you could have done was just take 5 seconds, stand up, clap, neutralize the conversation, and then you get on the offensive. You will be on the offensive, and Trump will be defending why he cut funding for cancer. But you didn't do that. You sat down because you're consumed by hatred. You're consumed by wickedness. You are consumed by Donald Trump. There's an election that's going to be in 2 years, the midterms. And if you don't if you don't let go of this hatred, the Republicans are going to clean house. And I honestly don't mind that. I don't like the path that the Republicans are currently going on. I'm hearing chatters of some crazy stuff along the Republican path. And this is what I said. You need a balanced Democrat Party. But you can't have that when you're consumed by this much hate by Trump. Trump is not the start and end of America. To be able to outbeat Trump, you have to keep your emotions in check. And right now, the Democrats are not doing that. I'm happy. I mean, I'm not really happy, but I'm okay because I'm seeing a party self-destroy because of their consumption. They have soaked themselves with Trump derangement syndrome. I still cannot get over the ideology that somebody says I could do anything, cure a disease, and you people will not clap. He has already spoken to the American people. He already has. The American people are like, oh, wow, is this true? Is this true that he can do anything and these people are not going to clap? And he's like, let me show you. Let me give you an example. Look at this. Look at this kid that has been fighting cancer for 5 years. He's been trying to be a police. And you know, when the vast majority of Americans hear the police, they are already happy. You're like, this kid wants to be a police officer. That is your typical middle America glorious story. You know this. It's like a Hollywood script. A kid who is aspiring to be a police officer. You know Americans love relationship with the police, right? And you still fall for it. And then you have people who call themselves Democrat, who then go to right and then call other people that see this BS and call them coons, call them all kinds of names, house negro, you're still gonna be a no, right? Just this is the mentality of the people. And you expect me to identify with a party like this? You expect me to identify with a party that's so consumed by emotion that cannot distinguish between we need to be able to get over this hump. We've lost the election. We need to get back into the game. We're losing the game right now. Midterms is going to be here shortly. And we have the Democrats still battling their emotions. There's Nicole Wallace who wished death on this child. Nicole Wallace who says, I wish he lives for 99 years. I wish he doesn't become. In what world is this? Is this even the narrative, Nicole Wallace? In what world is this a conversation that needs to be had? This thing was simple. Trump gave you the roadmap. All you needed to do was outsmart him. Okay, we see this little black kid. We love black people. This is all we talk about. Let's stand up and clap. For whatever reason, we've already neutralized one narrative that we're not going to clap for him. The American people see us clapping. That narrative gets dissipated, gets lost in translation. And the next day, Nicole Wallace, the MSN DNC platform, CNN platform, all of these pundits, if they are journalists, you can have the conversation on propping the kid as a pawn, on your disdain or you not being happy that this is what Trump was doing. But you have a reason now to have that conversation. But you don't right now. Nobody's listening to you. The narrative is that Democrats are so evil they could not even clap for a 13-year-old kid who's aspiring to be a cop and who was honorary given the Secret Service agent badge. You guys didn't clap. You didn't stand. You can't wash the stain off. You cannot wash this off. You cannot do it. You are in a defensive position right now, and you are going to be as long as this story remains on TV. This is how far left your party has gone. And it's so hard to come back to the middle. You need to come back to the middle. This level of hatred for Donald Trump is going to cost you the midterms. It's probably going to cost you judiciary nominations. It's going to be a generational shift like the lights we've never seen before. And there are going to be consequences for this because you guys keep doing this. You're not protecting anybody when you're governing by emotions. You're putting every American, every minority. You think you pride yourself as the party that protects minority interests? Does this look like you're protecting minority interests right now? No, it doesn't. You have the Republican Party right now, the far right, who are talking about Trump should pardon the guy who killed Chauvin, the police officer. These are the kind of conversations that are coming now because the Democrat Party does not exist. You have the far right losing their collective mind. The far right is taking over because the left does not exist. The balance, the neutrality that we're going to, because you don't pass common sense laws. That's where we at today. And so I was sad and shocked. I'm not worried that some individual online who cannot have a political conversation is calling people names. I'm looking at the bigger picture of the Democrat Party that doesn't exist, governed by emotions. And so we'll end the show today. Please continue to like. Subscription numbers are going up. I appreciate it. We're going to have a show about this. Trump mentioned $8 million, the beautiful kingdom of Lesotho. A beautiful country, beautiful country, beautiful country. I saw it on Wodemaya's channel. Amazing country. A country within a country. Lesotho's totally surrounded by South Africa. But the people from Lesotho, don't get mad. What Trump did, it might sound bad, but he put your country on the platform. They're talking about your country. If you go now, Lesotho is trending. Capitalize on this. Use it to expose your country to attract sympathizers, people that are going to be mad at him and they want to travel and come spend money in your country. Don't get mad. Use this opportunity now that you are in the conversation and put your country on the map. Talk about everywhere should be Lesotho. Spend millions of dollars to trend on Twitter where people are going to be like, what country is Lesotho? Because truly, people don't know Lesotho is a small country. It's a country within a country. A lot of people don't know Lesotho, right? You think people just know every country? No. So it is your opportunity instead of getting mad. What Wodemaya did was Wodemaya attacked President Trump and blasted Lesotho to see the landscape. This is your opportunity to say Lesotho is open for business, attracting foreign investment, attracting foreign tourists to come and see the beautiful nature, the beautiful country that's Lesotho. People need to stop being in their feelings. People need to stop being emotional about everything. Everything should always be seen as an opportunity to capitalize and make use. Like I said, if you like this content, if you like what I said, like, subscribe, and we're going to have a conversation another day, another time.